Today's lesson is on how do we use power of 10 to estimate. Problem 1. Use a single digit times the power of 10 to estimate the number given there. Take a second to copy down the question. The first thing I have to do when I have to use a single digit to estimate a number is I'm going to estimate, or I'm going to round the number that I'm given. I'm going to round it to my first non-zero number. My first non-zero number is this 7. So I notice before the 7 I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So I'm going to keep those 5 zeros. After the 7 is a 3. So since the 3 is less than 5, I'm going to keep that 7 as a 7. So this is my estimated number. Now, since I have to write this number as a single digit times the power of 10, I'm going to determine how many times I have to move my decimal to turn this number into a single digit. So I have to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to turn it into a number that is between 1 and 10. So 7 is between 1 and 10. So I would have it as 7 times 10. And now, since I moved my decimal to the right, I'm going to make my exponent negative. So it'd be 7 times 10 to the negative 6th power. And if you remember when we learned yesterday, when you have a negative exponent, it ends up being that the number is less than 1. So this whole expression, 7 times 10 to the negative 6th power, has to be less than 1. And if I look at my number, 0.00007 is less than 1. And it is okay in this problem when we're doing these to have negative exponents. So this would be my number estimated with a single digit times the power of 10. Problem 2. A scientist records the mass of a protein as the number of grams. Use a single digit times the power of 10 to estimate the mass. Take a second to copy down the question. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to round this number based off of my first non-zero number, which is this 2. So before the 2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 zeros. So I'm going to rewrite those 12 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Since I'm rounding based off of this 2, after the 2 is a 3. So it's going to stay as a 2. Now I'm going to have to move my decimal to make it a single digit times the power of 10. And I'm going to count how many times I move my decimal. I have to move my decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I move my decimal 13 times. So it becomes 2 times 10, and since I moved my decimal to the right, and since this number is less than 1, it would be a negative exponent, so it would be 2 times 10 to the negative 13th power. And problem 3. Estimate 0.00792398 to the nearest thousandth. Then express your answer as a single digit times the power of 10. Take a second to copy down the question. If I have to estimate this to the nearest thousandth, this is my tenths place, hundredths, this is my thousandths place. So I'm going to have my 0.2 zeros. After the 7 is a 9. It doesn't matter about these other numbers. So all I'm looking at is the 9. Since that 9 is greater than 5, I'm going to round this up to 8. So it becomes 0.008. Now if I want to estimate this as a single digit times the power of 10, I'm going to move my decimal. So I move it 1, 2, 3 times. So it becomes 8 times 10. And since I moved it 3 times to the right, and since this number is less than 1, it would be a negative exponent. So it would be 8 times 10 to the negative third power. Now we're going to do one more problem. We're going to estimate the number 236,000 using a single digit times a power of 10. So the first thing I'm going to do is same thing. I'm going to round to the first non-zero number that I see. The first non-zero number in this case is 2. After the 2 is a 3. So that means that my number is going to stay as a 2. And then after that, I'm going to fill in everything else with zeros. So I have 200,000. Now, I have my decimal at the end here. So I'm going to move my decimal to turn this into a number that's between 1 and 10. So let's move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I'm moving my decimal right before the 2. So it'd be 2 times 10. And since I moved my decimal to the left, and since my number here is greater than 1, it's going to be a positive exponent. So it's going to be 2 times 10 to the 5th power. Now as our review for this lesson. Our first step that we have to do is to round the number from the first non-zero number. So if you have a number like 0.00004, this 4, that's my first non-zero number. And then you round based off of what's after it. If I have a number like 478,000, this 4 is still the first non-zero number that I see, so I round that 4. The next thing you have to do is I have to move my decimal to create a number between 1 and 10. Then we write an expression with the number times 10 to an exponent. And if you move your decimal to the left, your exponent is positive. And then if you move your decimal to the right, the exponent is negative. Now, complete these two problems and upload your answers onto the Flipgrid. You can create one video for both problems.